Hey, beautiful soul. So this month we are focusing on our third energy center, solar plexus chakra, Manipura chakra. And this energy center is associated with the element of fire. If you think of fire in the belly, and the qualities of this energy center is transformation. So we transform food into energy, right? And it's also where we digest our emotions, and it's our seat of our intuition. We often think of our digestive organs being more down here, but this is where we feel our gut instinct. And if you've ever noticed, sometimes when people are getting a bit defensive, they do that, is because they're trying to protect their solar plexus area. So we think of purpose, passion, personal drive. This is our area of self. This is where we go from our kind of connection with our tribe, from our roots, to more moving up into our sense of self, our sense of self-worth, our sense of self-belief, all those kind of things, self-esteem. So it also a lot to do with confidence here. When we work our Manipura chakra, we develop the confidence, because if you think about it, we are all intuitive, okay? We all have that gut feeling. It's just that quite often, hey mister, quite often we don't trust it. I call them my moments, because, and here's the thing, when people ask me, how do I know when it's logic and when it's my intuition? When it's thoughts, when you're rationally thinking about something, that is logic. When you're thinking, well, if this and that, and I think this, and I can see this, whereas your intuition is often literally a kind of, something just doesn't feel right. It's like that time when you just suddenly decide to drive a different way. You don't think about it, you just go a different way, and you find out later that you missed an accident or something like that. But the problem is, because it's so subtle, we kind of think, well, how do I know that? Why would I go that way? I've got no logic. I've got no logical reason to do X, Y, Z. So working on Manipura chakra gives us the confidence to follow our intuition. Now, the last few years has been a prime example of people trusting their intuition and standing up for their truth. And just as a side note here, it's not about being right or wrong, okay? When you have a healthy energy system, you can stand up for what you believe in without feeling like you have to defend yourself. In other words, if someone else thinks differently to you or doesn't agree with you, when you have a healthy Manipura chakra, it's okay. It can be like, yes, we can agree to disagree. Now, over the last 2 years, I don't watch the news. I haven't watched the news for years and years and years. So when all this stuff kicked off in 2020, I just trusted my intuition. You know, I trusted my instinct, my inner wisdom, and I was able to have the courage and confidence to stand up and speak what I felt was true for me, whilst also having an open and inquisitive mind. And that's the other thing, it's being able to, it's not being stubborn, it's not saying, I believe this and that's it, what. It's being able to say, this feels true for me, but I'm open and willing to listen to other people's points of view. And that is when you have a healthy balance. So if you go one way or the other, if you're like too weak in this area, then you'll just let other people walk all over you. And if you're kind of like if it's over energized, then you'd be like, no, this is what I believe in, blah, 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 and I'm going to stand by my belief no matter what, blah, blah, blah. So you want to have that healthy balance of saying, like, do you know what? This is what feels right for me right now. And even if everyone else is saying, do this, I have the courage and confidence to listen to my intuition. So as I say, okay, claws in my legs. So it's about transformation, about digestion, about personal willpower, about confidence. But this month I want you to focus particularly on your intuition, on growing your ability to listen to it, because as I say, it's often very subtle. That's why I call it my moments. And sometimes it is just a I don't know why, I can't put my finger on it, but just something just doesn't feel right. So whenever you say that, feeling, so it doesn't feel right, not look right or sound right, it just doesn't feel right. So I want to focus this month on developing not just the ability to listen to your solar plexus, but also to have the courage and confidence. In the past 2 years, when we've had bullying, coercion, we've had lots of information thrown at us, we've been, had people trying to make us feel guilty about things, trying to make us believe a certain thing. It's no wonder so many people have become ill, because their body's probably been saying one thing, but they're taking in information from outside. And that's the thing, yeah? Whenever I have felt a little bit uncertain, a little bit afraid, I've thought, well, how do I feel when I go outside? When I go outside, how do I feel? Like the stuff with like possible World War III and stuff like that. When I start feeling afraid, I literally go outside. Like, how do I feel? Do I feel scared? Do I feel like there's a threat? Because it's so easy to take all this stuff in through the news or the papers or whatever, and that will put you in a fearful state. But here's one thing you need to really get into your mind, is that your intuition cannot lie. It cannot lie. So even if you've got someone who's got a degree, who's got a doctorate, whatever, your intuition cannot lie. So your body cannot lie. So I want you to focus on having the courage and confidence to not only listen to your inner tuition, your inner tuition, but also to be able to stand up for yourself, even if you have no proof, you have no logical reason for it, and you're able just to stand in your truth without needing to justify yourself, without needing to defend yourself. It's like, okay, this is what I think, this is what I believe, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay if you don't believe that. So the archetypes for this chakra are the spiritual warrior. And the spiritual warriors, they believe in a guidance from a divine force. So they believe in something greater than themselves. They believe they're being divinely guided. The opposite of that is the drudge. And the drudge depends on other people for approval. Remember, this chakra is to do with our sense of self. So if we're constantly looking to other people for our sense of approval, rather than remembering that we're all divine and that we're all worthy and that we're all amazing and all wonderful and all beautiful and all those kind of things. So the drudge kind of also acknowledges qualities in other people that they wish they had, but the fact is they do have those. They do have those qualities. They just haven't yet acknowledged them. They haven't yet activated them, if you like. So it's like, oh, I wish I was like this, or they're so confident, or they're so this, that, and the other. And actually they're recognizing something that is within them, but they haven't activated it yet. So kind of people pleasing is a really good sign of someone with a kind of weak solar plexus, someone who's always looking to other people, trying to please other people because they want to be liked. They want other people to approve of them. They're always worrying what other people might think of them. And the fact is, and I try and say this to people, those of you who are worrying excessively what other people might think of you, the irony is other people are either too busy with their own stuff or they're worrying what you think of them. Remember, you are not the star in their movie. They are. So focus on firing up the belly, living your lives with purpose, passion, and power. So some journal prompts that I invite you to consider. Number one, when do you feel most empowered? When have you or when do you feel most empowered? And notice what pops into your mind when I say that. Now, it could be something recent. It could be something from years ago. It might be like a time when you were, I don't know, standing out in front of class or something and you felt like, yes, I feel good, I feel powerful, I'm strong, I feel open, I feel in the flow, and blah, blah, blah. Or it could be something recent. It's okay, whatever pops into your mind. But I also want you to think of why. Why did you feel empowered in that moment? What is it about that makes you feel empowered? Now, for example, in the past, whenever I've asked myself this question, I've always got an image of, I used to teach Les Mills classes like Body Balance, CX Works, and I always used to get an image of teaching the new launch, so showcasing the new launch. I'd spent time and energy learning the choreography. I felt kind of confident in it, the music, the energy, everything was like, yeah, and I felt like, yeah, I feel I'm good at what I do. I love what I do. I'm picking up on the energy of everyone else. And so when you can kind of pick a situation, you can remind yourself that you do have the ability to feel empowered, to feel like, yes, I have, I don't need to doubt myself. I know why I'm here. I'm living with purpose, passion. I'm really open. I'm like, yeah. So that we can tune into that energy to bring more of that energy into our day-to-day life. Number two, in what ways can you embody that feeling of personal power in day-to-day situations? So like I just said, that sense of like, yes, how can you embody that power? And one of the easiest ways to do that is to imagine you're back in that situation. So say you thought of a situation where you felt like, yes, top of the world, full of confidence, full of, yeah, everything's great. I feel like superwoman, da, da, da. You can imagine thinking of that energy. Imagine you can bottle that energy, and when you need it, when you're in a situation you're a bit like, imagine drinking that magic potion and having that superwoman kind of like, yes. Or maybe a certain stance or a certain breathing or a certain song that you can listen to that will instantly trigger that sensation in your body. So give that some thought. Number 3, what does it mean to be empowered? What does it mean to you to be empowered? Because I think sometimes we get a bit lost and think that to be empowered means that we think we're better than someone else, or we have this kind of like, yes, I know everything, blah, blah, blah. And it's not that at all. It's standing up thinking, I have every right to be here. I love what I'm doing. I'm passionate about what I'm doing. Doesn't mean I might make mistakes. I can make mistakes and it's okay. I feel good at myself. There's no doubt. I'm not worrying about what I look like or what I sound like. It's just like, yes, everything is amazing. Everything's flowing. Da, 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 da. So what does it mean to you to be empowered? And also notice you may have some negative connotations. And so you may discover that part of you thinks that it means, you might have an image of someone kind of arrogant, some kind of know-it-all, I'm know-it-all, blah, 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 blah. And that's okay because you can work through that. Because here's the thing, right? If you unconsciously have a negative connotation, that may lead to why you lack confidence. So I want that really to land, really to sink in. If you, unbeknownst to you, have some kind of negative idea of what it means to be confident, that may be a reason why you've been lacking confidence. So you may not realize that you have seen someone who's really confident and part of you thought, oh, they're arrogant. So you've now associated confidence with arrogance and you don't want to be seen as arrogant. So you suppress your confidence. And all these are things that we may not realize that we're doing. That's why they're unconscious beliefs. So notice what comes up. And then ask yourself, in what ways am I an empowered person? And if you can't think of any, then there's some work that needs to be done. In what ways am I an empowered person? And in what ways do I or can I empower others? In what ways can I empower others? Then I want you to, number 4, I want you to think of at least 3 times when your intuition was completely accurate. Now, your intuition should be always on point, but I want you to think of 3 times immediately when you've trusted your intuition and it's like, yes, that's why. And I'll give you an example. Okay, I was driving to work one day, and for some reason I just turned left instead of turning right. I didn't even think about it. Turned left. Anyway, long story short, I stopped for a car, and on the tree there were 2 wetsuits with free on. Now, I had before that been thinking I could do with a wetsuit. And so my intuition had guided me to go that way on that day. I didn't even think about it, but there it was. But I want you to just think of 3 times. And when I say it's been accurate, it is always accurate. But there may have been times when you don't listen to it. So I want you to think of at least 3 times where you have listened to it and it's been like, yes, that's why I did it. Because again, remember what I said, I want to encourage you to not only listen to it, but have the confidence to follow through. Especially when like your intuition is saying one thing, but all the evidence around you is thinking, well, there's no real reason to do that. So you have the confidence to follow it through. And if you didn't listen to or trust your inner wisdom previously, why was that? Why was that? Was it because you were worried about what other people might think? Were you worried other people might think you were foolish? Or were you worried about letting people down? For example, you might decide that you don't want to get on the bus and you're making everyone late, and you're worried about, people let you down. You've just got a really strong feeling for not getting on the bus, but you get on it because you don't let people down, and you have an accident. So if you didn't listen to your intuition, or the times you haven't listened to your intuition, why was it? It might just be you didn't want to believe it. And I'll give you an example of that, right? Okay, my last car that I bought, the day I was meant to go and pick it up, I had a hell of a job. I couldn't get a taxi, I couldn't get a train, I couldn't get a bus, and I suddenly thought to myself, am I just not meant to get this car? Is this the universe trying to make sure I don't get this car? And I ignored that, and I regretted it. So it maybe that I'm just stubborn. I want this car, and I should have listened to my intuition. But hey, hey, we learn. Hopefully, we live and learn. Number 5. Where are we? Number 5. How does or has your inner wisdom shown itself to you? And what causes you to either trust it or disregard it? So say with me, it is a kind of like, There's just a and that's why I call it my moments. There's no thought, there's no, maybe blah, blah, blah. It's just there's just a something. There's just a moment where I'm like, So ask yourself, how does it show up to you? Do you get a voice in your head, or do you get a sensation somewhere? Do you get a clenching of your jaw, or a feeling in your solar plexus? How does it show up for you? And again, what causes you to either trust it, to go, actually, yeah, I need to pay attention, or to go, oh no, I'm just imagining it. I'm just being stupid, I'm just being foolish, blah, 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 blah. So ask yourself those questions and see how you get on. Now, you can journal them if you like. You can do what I call virtual journaling, which is just talking out loud. There is a lot of evidence to show that writing does have a lot of benefits, because you've got that connection between actually seeing it, actually writing it, and actually the brain-hand connection. But I personally, I do a lot of virtual journaling where I speak out loud. So, or you could do it on voice notes. Whatever works best for you. But remember, it's only for you, so it doesn't matter if you can't read it properly. And quite often you'll be surprised what comes out. And that's the whole point of it, because we have a whole lot of stuff we've been holding on to, and it's about making that unconscious conscious, so that we can continue to become the absolute best version of ourselves. So I look forward to sharing with you all the practices this month, the breathwork, the mudras, the mantras, all that stuff. And if you have any questions, if you have any requests, or if you'd like to know a bit more about how to work with me on a bit more of a one-to-one basis, then just let me know. I'm so excited to share stuff with you. I have no fancy equipment, no fancy covers or anything like that. It's just me, my passion, and I am an eternal student. So namaste.